Hello, everybody, and I would like to thank my wonderful subscribers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of Three Disturbing True Police Horror Stories. Last time we left off, we finished story number 2, which was about a kidnapping of a middle-aged man who was maybe forced to sound like a little jail by his kidnapper. So yeah, but let's see what the last story has in store for us. By Anonymous.
I've been a patrol officer for a little over 8 years now.
Okay.
I've worked nights for most of that time. You see a lot on midnights. For example, I've lost count at how many domestic fights, drunk drivers, break-ins, and overdoses I've had to deal with.
Shit.
After a while, most calls start to blend together.
Okay.
You show up, then separate people, you take a report, possibly make an arrest, and then move on. There are only a handful of calls that ever stuck with me. This is one of them. It happened in late October a few years back, around 2:40 in the morning. Dispatch toned me out for a 911 hang-up. The caller had reported hearing a woman screaming from inside the house next door.
Ooh.
The address was on a quiet residential street, one that most people are familiar with, lined with single-family homes in a decent neighborhood.
Yeah.
Nothing that generated a lot of police activity. The caller said the screaming had stopped by the time she dialed 911, but she was sure that she heard someone yelling for help. I was only about 5 minutes away. When I pulled up, the street was dead silent. Most of the houses had their lights off at this time, of course.
Yeah, it is dark.
A light rain had started to fall, just enough to make the pavement shine under the street lights.
Okay.
The house in question was a 2-story place with a small front porch. There were no lights on inside that I could see from the street. I parked a few houses down and approached on foot. As I got closer, I noticed the front door was slightly cracked open.
Ooh.
That immediately raised my guard because it confirmed some validity to what this woman had reported.
Yeah.
I radioed dispatch and advised I was on scene and had an open door.
I
asked for another unit to start my way, but at that time of night, the nearest backup was about 10 minutes out at least. I stepped onto the porch and listened. The only sound was the light rain hitting the ground. I knocked on the door frame and announced myself, "Police Department." No response. I knocked again a bit louder.
Well,
technically, the door is screams and an open door.
Oh, shit.
I had exigent circumstances. I pushed the door open slowly and stepped inside. Nothing really stood out, such as any kind of signs of forced entry or weird smells. The living room was directly ahead of me, and everything looked normal and neat.
Good.
There were no signs of a struggle. I searched the living room first, checking behind the couch and in the corners. Then I moved toward the kitchen. My flashlight beam bounced off clean countertops and a sink full of dishes.
You looked plenty
there was a glass on the table with what looked like water still in it. I remember that detail because I made a mental note of it, meaning that someone had been sitting there not long ago.
Yeah.
I called out again. "Police Department. If
it might be
here,
empty.
Make yourself known." My voice sounded too loud in the quiet home.
No, that's good. You want it loud.
Call, but something about this was creeping me out.
Yeah.
I kept expecting someone to answer from upstairs, but no one ever did. I moved down the hallway toward the back of the house. I remember the layout. There was a small bathroom on the right, a guest bedroom on the left, both clear. At the end of the hallway was a staircase leading up. As I stepped onto the first stair, I heard a sound from above, like a quick faint shuffle, like a foot dragging across carpet. I stopped and listened.
Somebody's there.
I drew my weapon and continued up the stairs slowly, one step at a time, keeping my light aimed ahead.
You're prepared.
The upstairs hallway had 3 doors. 2 were closed, one slightly open. The open one was at the end. As I reached the top, I heard it again. A soft movement from that direction. I announced myself a 3rd time and told whoever was inside to show their hands. No response.
Nothing?
I approached the open doorway and pushed it wider with my foot. It was a bedroom that was larger than the one downstairs. The bed was unmade with the sheets partially hanging off the side. A lamp on the nightstand was knocked over onto the floor.
No.
That was the first thing that looked wrong.
What else?
I stepped inside and checked the closet. It was empty.
Okay.
And I checked under the bed.
Empty?
Nothing. The window was closed and locked.
What about the closet?
No obvious way in or out from that room. I felt that uncomfortable feeling in my chest you get when something isn't adding up. The rest of the upstairs still needed to be cleared.
Yeah.
The second bedroom was a kid's room from the look of it because of the toys on the floor, the small dresser, and posters on the wall.
I'll never hide in
There was no one inside.
room.
The last door was the bathroom.
Oh.
As I reached for the handle, I noticed something on the carpet outside the door.
What is it?
A dark spot.
What time?
At first, I thought it was just a shadow from my flashlight.
No.
Then I realized it was wet. I crouched down and touched it with my glove.
Is it blood?
And it was blood. Not a huge amount, but enough to form a small pool.
Oh.
My heart rate went up instantly.
Yeah.
I called it out over the radio and asked dispatch to expedite backup.
Really?
People may forget police officers are people too.
Yeah.
But when we're in these kinds of situations, we're just as scared as anyone else.
Okay.
I pushed the bathroom door open and flicked on the light with my elbow. The shower...
I mean, preferably, we want people who don't get sedated easily, but you know what? They are people. You're right. I mean, I hope they're a little less sedated than anybody else, but, you know, you do what you do.
Officers are people too. But when we're in these kinds of situations, we're just as scared as anyone else. I pushed the bathroom door open and flicked on the light with my elbow. The shower curtain was closed. There were streaks of blood on the tile floor leading toward the tub.
Oh no.
I moved closer and yanked the curtain back.
What?
The tub was empty,
Oh.
but there was more blood near the drain. The blood looked as though someone had been standing there bleeding.
Yeah.
I checked everywhere in the bathroom to no avail.
Nothing?
By this time, backup was still a few minutes out. I was alone in a house with fresh blood and no victim.
Yeah.
I did another sweep of the upstairs, but slower this time. That's when I heard a faint sound from below, like a floorboard creaking under weight.
Well, go
down.
down.
The first floor. I moved back toward the stairs and aimed my light down into the darkness.
How would he get away?
The living room was still dark, and I couldn't see movement, but I felt it. That feeling like you're being watched. I descended slowly, trying to control my breathing.
Okay.
When I reached the bottom, I cleared the living room again. The kitchen too.
Yeah.
But then I noticed something I hadn't before.
What?
A door near the refrigerator that I'd assumed was a pantry.
Oh.
It was slightly ajar now.
It's not a pantry?
I was almost certain it had been closed earlier. I approached it and opened it wider. It wasn't a pantry.
That's weird. Why would you assume it was a pantry? Like, I assumed that you cleared the downstairs before you cleared the upstairs. So, like, wouldn't you check a pantry too? Because if somebody is hiding, they can hide in a pantry just as easily. So, I assumed you should have checked it beforehand.
It was slightly ajar now.
Okay.
I was almost certain it had been closed earlier. I approached it and opened it wider.
What?
It wasn't a pantry. It was a narrow set of stairs leading down into a basement.
Ah, shit.
The light switch was at the top. I flicked it up, but it did nothing. Either the bulb was out or the power was cut down there. The stairs descended into complete darkness.
You have a flashlight.
I radioed again, advising I was going into the basement. No way was I waiting up there with someone possibly moving around below me.
Yeah.
I started down the stairs. The basement was unfinished, and as I went down, I noticed concrete floors, exposed beams, and boxes stacked along one wall.
Messy.
As I stepped off the last stair, I saw a chair in the middle of the room, a metal folding chair. On the floor beneath it, a large pool of blood, bigger than what I'd seen upstairs.
Oh no.
The chair had zip ties attached to the armrests. They were cut. I scanned the rest of the basement. That's when my light hit movement in the far corner. A figure bolted behind a stack of boxes.
No!
I yelled for them to stop and started moving toward them. But they moved fast, heading toward the back of the basement where there was a small window near the ceiling.
No.
I heard glass shatter. By the time I reached that corner, the windows had broken, and whoever it was had forced themselves through.
Really?
The window led to a narrow side yard between houses.
You did would take a little bit
I
longer.
climbed out after them, cutting my hand on the glass in the process.
Shit.
Outside, it was still raining. I could see a dark shape sprinting toward the alley at the end of the block.
Backup better be here.
But lost them once they turned the corner.
Shit.
Backup arrived minutes later.
Well, what happened?
We set up a perimeter. K9 responded, detectives came out.
Yeah.
But we never found the person who ran. The house turned out to belong to a man who lived alone.
Yeah.
He wasn't there, We found his wallet upstairs and his phone on the kitchen counter.
Whose blood was it?
There were signs he'd been restrained in that basement chair.
Oh.
The blood matched him. A lot of it. But not enough to confirm he died there.
Okay.
He was never found. The neighbor who called 911 swore she heard a woman screaming.
Oh.
We never identified any female connected to that address.
Really?
And no signs anyone else lived there. I don't know if I interrupted something in progress or if I walked in after it was already over. If they hadn't made that one mistake in the basement, knocking over that stack of boxes, I might have walked out of there thinking it was a false alarm.
Yeah.
The missing man's case is still technically open. Every once in a while, I drive down that street on patrol.
Yeah.
A new family lives in that house now.
Oh.
I see the kids' bikes in the driveway sometimes.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a normal neighborhood. But sometimes fucked up things happen in the most normal neighborhoods.
Damn. True that. True that. So yeah, that would play shit theory though. A woman dreaming. Of course, you know, in the middle of the night, you aren't expecting to hear anybody dream. And when people dream, of course, the pitch of their voice also changes with them. So it's possible that, you know, it was a man. A man with a bit higher of a voice who yelled in pain and, well, that made his voice go high-pitched. So yeah, I mean, the female dreaming could easily be explained. I had to guess that, you know, somebody must have kidnapped the man, or, you know, somebody broke into his house, tied him to the chair, and was, well, torturing him. Or at least, you know, they had a fight of some kind. Maybe it started in the bathroom, maybe? Ooh. What happened to the body, though? If we assume that the man, yeah, the person in the basement was the kidnapper, then what happened to the man, I wonder? Oh, a ton of possibilities, but I don't think I want to dive into those too deeply. So, yeah, I think that is gonna have to do it for 3 disturbing true police horror stories. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!